Can about the seminar on latest trends in clinical research and pharmacovigilance conducted by IPA Varangal branch in association with KVK College and also Clinosol. So today's session will be on latest innovation in clinical research and pharmacovigilance and its career path. So there will be three speakers. So the schedule will be like this. The first, we will start with welcome address, which Raghunandan sir will be giving after my introduction. Then we will have the first session by Uma Priya, who is Director of Clinosol Research. She'll be speaking about technology innovations in clinical research. And she'll be speaking about the session for half an hour or 30 minutes to 40 minutes. 10 minutes of questions will be given. And then technology advancement in pharmacovigilance, Almas, who is joining from Mumbai. She's having more than 20 years of experience in pharmacovigilance. She'll be speaking about technology innovations in pharmacovigilance for 40 minutes. And then I'll be speaking on the career pathways, different careers, the history, current, and the future careers for clinical research and pharmacovigilance. I'll be speaking about it. So then we will have the resume building question and answers session. So this is the schedule. We are expected to complete from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock, and all the students are requested to post your questions in YouTube. Our team is available in YouTube, and they will be able to answer your questions at YouTube, or we will be able to take these questions here. So I think with this short note, this will be a very nice learning. And those students who are till end of the sessions will be getting a free certificate, will be sending a soft copy certificates to their mail ID. So without any delay, so one of the most renowned personality, Dr. Raghunandan sir, who is having more than 25 years of experience, who has done B.Pharm, M.Pharm and PhD from Kakatiya University. And currently he is secretary for Indian Pharmaceutical Association, Varangal City branch. And also he is principal for KVK College of Pharmacy. So I would request sir to share his view on this one-day national seminar.
Okay, thank you, Mujib, for your nice introduction about me. And I welcome CS Mujibuddin, CEO of Clinosol, and today's expert speakers and pharmacovigilance, Alma Said, the senior training consultant, and Uma Priya, Director of Clinosol Research Centers. And I welcome all the participants as well as expert speakers today webinar, that is pharmacovigilance. And and I'm so much delighted to be a part of this program because I find a man like CS Mujibuddin who is very enthusiastic and active for the service of pharma students. And really appreciate your effort, Mujibuddin, coming forward to organizing webinar and mediating me with the IPA Varangal City branch, as well as making a platform to interact or gather all the students to enlighten about the pharmacovigilance. And dear students, as you know that the pharmacovigilance is a very emerging field, and most of the governments of across the globe are focusing on pharmacovigilance. And you must be knowing the pharmacovigilance is started from the journey of chloroform anesthesia, which is led to the killing of the few people. Then you know tragedy of thalidomide. Earlier to that, you know about the ethylene glycol solvent, which is given as a sulfonamide elixir, which led to the lethal effects of among so many people. And similarly, you know that recently Indian government, CDSCO, has come forward to withdraw the more than a 344 fixed dosage forms, which is not having therapeutical significance. And these all clearly indicates and clearly shows that the drug control department as well as industries are very, very keen about the watching of the drugs, post-marketing surveillance and usage. And this is the most welcome part of the, especially pharma experts regarding the vigilance of the drugs. And that Kinsal Mujib and myself felt that, and this area will be very important to enlighten the students. That's why we are coming forward with a bunch of webinars among the students. And I'll appreciate all the students who has actively participated in this program. And also, Mujibuddin and myself is having a roadmap and planning for the development of the existing pharmacy students. And we are going with a series of placement, and we are planning to open the one collective placement cell for all the students who are studying in Telangana. And we want to focus on the students who are passed all the subject, and we will provide a platform for the placement. And similarly, those who are belongs to average and below average students, and Mujibuddin and myself is planning to train them to get the placements. And beyond this program, always our national president, TV Narayan sir, is pushing us to reach the students and lead the fulfill the needs of the students. So, with the blessings of the Professor T.V. Narayana, our national president, IPA, and also yesterday I was spoke to Deputy Drug Control of India, Dr. Ramakrishnan sir, is readily expressed his supportness to train the students who are average and below average, as well as he also told us to assist in the placements of the uh, students who cleared all the subjects. One day, other day, he's making himself free to interact with all the students who are really interested to place in different companies. And with this, I once again like to invite our senior training consultant Alma Said from Bombay, and our dynamic Uma Priya, Director of Clinosol Research. And I also, my heartfelt appreciations to our Mujibuddin, who has made it to become real. And always my wishes with you, Mujib, and we will go ahead with the wonderful things in future. And every aspect, and all my students, you must remember that the KVK College and our management, Sri Kadiala Satish Garu, and Mujibuddin and myself always be with you to support in all kinds of problems which you encounter in the development of pharmacy. And we are there with you. And I wish all the best to all the participants, as well as my heartfelt appreciations to the speakers and all the students. Please keenly listen to the program, and please don't hesitate to ask the questions, because Mapriya and Tinsal, Mujibuddin and Alma Said is very expert to answer. And certainly this session is going to sensitize our students and make them to focus on to the pharmacovigilance also. So with this, I thank you, one and everyone, to making part of me, IPA, as well as KVK. And I wish you all the best, Dr. Mujibuddin. Thank you so much to making part of it.
Thank you, sir. You made this session very energetic, and you have given a lot of nice points for everyone to start with. I think without any delay, I'll introduce Uma Priya. Uma Priya is our Director of Clinosol Research, and she is having 20 years plus experience in clinical research and also in medical writing. So she is a MSc MBA. So without any delay, I would like Uma to share her screen, and then we will start with our technical session. So over to you, Uma. You can start your session. So I think we can go on mute so that Uma can share her screen and start the session.
Thank you so much, one and all. First of all, I would like to share my heartfelt thank you to KVK College of Pharmacy, especially to Raghunandan sir. We were watching sir since decades here. The kind of contribution he is extending to the student community is really fabulous, and along with IPA. I have no enough words to thank and pay my gratitude to IPA, Dr. TV Narayana sir, on this occasion. The kind of efforts all these principals, pharmacy college principals and IPA are putting is really great. Because of this reason, we could be able to train thousands of students, across India also. And we are successful for the last 5 years with all the support of pharmacy colleges. Thank you so much once again. And we are all set for today's session. And we want to first focus on, before we could learn anything, we have to go from the basics. So my presentation would be focusing on the elements of the basics of clinical research, and I'll be making you walk through the latest advancements, latest technologies that have, intruded into clinical research industry, especially post-COVID era. When we speak about the industry, it is like, we can divide it into pre and post-COVID era, and I'll be focusing on that part without much delay. I would like to share my screen. Mujib sir, I would request you to just confirm me on.
Yeah, you can go ahead and
Display
share
of
the
my
screen and
slides.
confirm if screen is visible. And students are requested to ask questions, any kind of questions. Please do ask questions. Yeah, it's visible. Can you make it as, yeah, I think it's visible. It's
For the
visible.
confirmation. Thanks for the confirmation.
Yeah.
And I request everyone to pay attention. If you can make a notepad or a pen next to you, please keep it always, because the kind of, terms that we are going to use will be very much useful for you, and which will be, again, connect with you through the next sessions with Almas as well as with Mujib. So without much delay, I'm starting my session. So we know that, everyone, you're all from B Pharmacy backgrounds or pharmacy backgrounds like PharmD and MPharm. We all know the drug discovery and development life cycle, but still I would like to just give a basic idea about this. We all know that the journey of a drug, once, it started in the research area until it reaches to the public, it's a vast journey. It takes decades sometimes. It may take 4 years, 6 years, 8, 10, 12, 14. Even after that huge time, there is always a struggle for the drug that it may get approved, it may not get approved. So, it is such a area where we have always challenges. And you guys are really the right people to work in this area. We can see the discovery pathway. We start with preclinical, with animal studies. Once the drug proves to be safe and effective, then we are putting it to the next phases of the clinical trial. And once we receive the approvals, it goes into the market. So what is the difference between the drug journey pre and post COVID? Before, just give me a second, let me, right. So pre-COVID, we can see what is the things that are involved. We are doing preclinical testing, and then it is going through the clinical stages, and we are doing the data analysis, and we are doing the follow-up studies. But COVID has given lots of challenges to us. Everybody got stuck at their homes. They were not able to move out. They cannot go to the clinical trial sites. They cannot get the drug dispensed because the transportation also was get affected. And everyone was suffering with this pandemic. So COVID has given us a challenge where our brains has worked with rocket speed, and we have reduced the timelines. The first change that has occurred is understanding how important the timelines are for us. As we have seen earlier, it may take 10 to 12 years of span to get the drug into the market. Sometimes it may fail. Out of 10,000 molecules, only one may get into the market, or 2 or 3 maximum. But COVID has given us such a challenge where we come up with the solutions with drug discovery as well as the clinical trials. We have reduced the drug discovery timelines, which is in vivo and in vitro, to maximum 5 or 6 years. And then we have gone through the phase 1, 2, and 3. I'll be discussing different study designs, how we are expediting all these timelines using these different study designs that have come up after the COVID time. So now you can see that the timelines have drastically reduced to maximum 6 to 7 years. And because of that reason, expedited approvals have happened. And most of the community has got benefited with the vaccines. Most of us, we have received vaccines. We were saved from the infection, right? This is the biggest groundbreaking innovation that has come in the clinical research industry. So what are the clinical trials? Clinical trials are the tests that will be performed on both healthy volunteers as well as the patients. I'm speaking only about clinical trials. I'm not touching the preclinical studies over here. Please make a note of this. Okay. So we are testing any new drug. It can be a drug, it can be a vaccine, it can be a device or anything. We are testing the new molecule or new drug, new device or new vaccine on the healthy as well as the patient community to see whether it is a promising treatment which is both safe as well as effective. Why we need such clinical trials? Because we want a cure, we want to be healthy, we want to be happy in this world, living in this world. Because of that reason, we are having clinical trials, and these are promising innovations to give us the health. So while we conduct the clinical trials, we also need lots of, you can find different clinical trials that are happening across the globe in this directory, in this registry, CTRI, Clinical Trial Registry of India, for all the Indian protocols or all the Indian studies, and clinicaltrials.gov, where all the international studies will be included. You can go through different clinical trials in this websites. All right. We are speaking about clinical trials all the time, and all the clinical trials are driven by the regulatory environment. Whatever we do, we know we cannot test anything on anybody, right? So because of that reason, we have some rules, we have some regulations, we have some good practices, which are called as good clinical practices, especially in the clinical research industry, when you are working with the diseased population as well as the healthy population. So these are the standards that are given by the international organizations, which speaks about the ethical considerations as well as the scientific quality of the entire trial, whether that may be a design, that may be how you are conducting the trial, how you are recording, means how you are collecting the data, and how you are reporting the results of the trial to the regulatory authority. So this has been established in 1997, which is applicable globally. The countries involved are Europe, Japan, and US. Okay, and you can see what it focuses on. It focuses on the patient safety as well as generation of good quality of data. GCP ensures patient is safe, and the data that we produce from the clinical trials is of good quality. So we also see the principles that speak. We have 13 principles of GCP, which speaks about, which covers the entirety of clinical trial. The first principle speaks about the ethical considerations given in the Declaration of Helsinki, which has, came into picture during the Nazi War, which is Second World War. And you are also seeing on the screen that what are the important considerations is right, safety, and well-being of the clinical trial subjects. GCP makes us to ensure that the trial subject is safe and their rights are protected. And whatever we are conducting, whatever we are doing in the clinical trial, we are doing as per the protocol, which has been approved by the regulatory agencies. We're also seeing that it has to be conducted by a qualified physician and all the qualified members. Why I have mentioned all these points again is because you are all the qualified people to work in this area. A qualified physician is the responsible person to conduct a clinical trial, and the qualified staff like you, whether you're working in PV, whether you're working in clinical research itself, or in data management, or in regulatory affairs, or in medical writing, or in any other domain under the roof of clinical research, you should be a qualified person. The first qualification is your education, the second qualification is your training, and the third qualification is your experience. You may be getting some questions about, qualifications, because by education, yes, you are already qualified, but by training and experience, how it is going to happen, Mujib sir will be focusing on this area during his speech. And we are also focusing on the subjects. We are obtaining free will, freely given informed consent form, voluntarily given informed consent form, without which we do not test or we should not be testing any drug on any of the clinical trial participant. And at the same point in time, confidentiality of records, especially the subject information, personal data, has to be protected at all times by the site staff. So you should be understanding the importance of the data, and you should be maintaining the confidentiality of the subjects or the data that we collect on the subjects. And being you a pharmacist, you also will be working under the dispensing area where you have to follow all the good manufacturing practices. All right. So what are the crucial arms of GCP? What GCP aims at is about the investigator, about the informed consent, which we collect from the subjects to participate in the clinical trial, and the ethics committees. What is the importance of ethics committees in conducting a clinical trial and how we are doing safety reporting? This point Almas will be covering in her presentation. And how we are handling the investigational products which are left out to the sponsor. And the essential documents. What are the different essential documents we deal with when we are working with clinical trials? Also will be focused in your GCP along with sponsor responsibilities, how you are ensuring the quality of the trial, quality of the documentation, and how you are allowing the monitoring to happen to ensure the quality. So who are the major players in clinical research or the sponsors, investigators, as well as the regulatory agencies, with subject being at the center? So you always have to respect the subject. That may be a sponsor, that may be a regulatory authority, that may be an investigator or a site team where you will be included. You can work with the sponsor, you can work with the regulatory agency, you can work with the investigational site. Wherever you are working, your primary focus should be the subject. So I have given some basic understanding. Now I'm just jumping into the advancements of clinical trials. This has happened post-COVID, okay? Now we have the old designs are not working out. The protocols are not giving good enough information, not scientific enough to conduct the trials because of the increased risk, increased disease burden on the country as well as globally. And we have come up with one more technology called as synthetic arms. Let's give a look into this. We have new designs came into picture for clinical trials. The first design is your adaptive design. How we are adapting. We have two types of designs. Earlier, we used to fix to one particular design. First, we used to design the study. Then we used to conduct the study. And then we used to analyze the data. But post-COVID, what we are doing is the timelines are strict now. We are designing, we are conducting. While conducting the study, we are reviewing what's happening. We are adopting to new technologies that are coming into picture. We are again implementing them in our study. And then we are verifying how it is going on. And then we are analyzing. This has cut down the timelines drastically, as well as this has improved the quality, because you are designing, conducting, and then after conducting the study entirely, once you analyze, if the results are not favorable, it is a waste of time, it is waste of money, it is waste of efforts. But in between, you are reviewing everything and you are making corrections, you are adapting to new technologies, new things, then your quality will be increasing in the study and the analyzed results will be mostly accurate at all times. So you can see the advantages of these adaptive designs. These are reducing the timelines. These are reducing the cost because we are cut downing the timelines. We are using the technology at the same point in time. The second concept is your master protocol. I'll be showing you different types of designs that master protocol covers. The first protocol type is a basket protocol, which was not there earlier before COVID. Now, one cancer drug can be used to treat different cancers. You know that cancer is such a disease, it can spread to any part of your body. So why not we just test one drug which can be used for different types of cancers? This design is called as a basket design. And we have umbrella design, which is one more type of design where we are using multiple drugs to cover one particular cancer. So we have seen earlier that one drug for multiple things and multiple drugs for one particular indication. These are the new designs that have come into picture, and this is the biggest concept that we are seeing is the decentralized clinical trials. You have seen during COVID that we were not moving out of the home, but we still need the medicines, dispensed to our home. We still needed the lab test to happen. We need to give the data to the medical professionals, how it was happening using the digital technologies, using the decentralized clinical trials. Decentralized is it is not located at one particular location. It is spread across. Lab people can come and visit your home, take the test sample, they can test, they can analyze. Again, it will go to the doctor and doctor will do online consultation and you will be getting the medicines dispensed at your doorstep. So all this is happening, including the record review. So most of the companies now are using only electronic data capturing where they can sit and work on their fingertips to review the data, review all the records, and then give their opinions. This is how the jobs also have increased post-COVID time. Before COVID, the situation was different. Post-COVID, the situation was different. Technology has increased where you are using laptops more. Most of you might have known that work from home has increased. Because of this reason, we have the adoption of new technologies where you can work just from your home. And you can see over here we are using different variables also. You have seen pulse oximeters. You have now most of you guys might be using the smart watches where it will be collecting your basic vitals, and this data where it is going to a centralized server. From there the sponsors will be reviewing the data, and if anything happens from there, the actions will be taken. Okay. You can see over here, labs have become decentralized. The clinics have become decentralized. The drug dispensing also has become decentralized during your post-COVID time. This is one more design where what we are doing is multiple drugs are being used for multiple indications. This cuts lots of time, especially in the initial stages of the clinical trial. We can make sure that this drug is going to make it to the next level or not, will be very much useful in platform designs. Synthetic arms, this is one more concept where we are seeing that how multiple arms we are placed in one single trial, and how we are recruiting the subjects using the data that is present over the internet, how we are checking the eligibility of the subjects, and how we are already taking the subjects without doing any further testing, how we can suddenly take up the subjects into our study based on the historical data that is already available in the internet or in the databases of the hospitals. We can just earlier what used to happen is you have to take the subject, then do all the eligibility criteria check, do vitals, do all the tests. This is all time taking. Now we are getting ready-made patients, ready-made subjects based on the requirement. So this is the biggest game changer in clinical trials. And now we have one more concept called as quality by design. How we are implementing the quality just with the design. First, we are planning, then we are doing, and while doing, we are checking whether everything is going fine or not. And based on that, we are acting. If it is not working out, again, we are changing the plan. Again, we are doing. It is happening in a cycle, which reduces lots of time and also identifies the risk factors at earlier stages where we can manage the risk appropriately and change our design based on the risk that is occurring until, at the end of the stage, if you are doing it, it is lots of time consuming. We are implementing the quality factors, quality elements in the initial stages itself. So this is all about my presentation, and I would like to reiterate certain points over here. Now we have telemedicine. I hope you already know about telemedicine. The digital health technologies are already there. and we have blockchain technology. Why I'm using all these terms is, they are going to be the future. You have to come across all these things. You have to learn all these things. How the data analysis using AI tools is really helping in data analysis. We have Power BI, we have R, we have Python. Now we are using artificial intelligence, natural language processing also to evaluate the data from different sites, which is present in different languages also. We are processing that using natural language processes, and we are using blockchain technology. This is a software technology that is really helpful in restricting the access of data, restricting the access of confidentiality at all levels. That may be your drug dispensing from the site to, from the sponsor to the site, how it is reaching. We can able to track that once it reaches, how it is reaching to the subject, whether it is reaching properly or not, with all the barcodes and all the latest. Now we are seeing QR codes. Earlier, we don't have QR codes, right? So all such technologies are being used in clinical trials. And one more thing, we are using the apps such as Uber, such as Ola to book a ride for the patient. And then you need not to worry much. They will be picking up the subject, they will be dropping at the site, and they will be dropping back. You can book at the ease of your home. You can use your mobile technology. You can use your smartwatches to book a thing, book a cab, or book an auto or anything. You can reach to the site. This technology has made the efforts of patients as well as the sponsors, investigators, regulatory authorities very much easier. So with this, I want to conclude my session. If you have any questions, you can just go ahead, and definitely we'll be planning one live workshop where you will be practicing on your own how you can write AML logics for the programmers. Anybody has any question?
Yeah, please post your questions in YouTube. We are logged in YouTube. So we'll be able to answer your questions in YouTube if you are having any questions. So thank you so much, Uma, for the wonderful session and discussing about different latest designs and about ICH GCP, about your master protocols, adaptive design, synthetic arms, and how the GCP came into existence. I think you have covered most of things. And students, we will be sharing the slides also in PDF format. You don't need to worry. You can take the screenshots, but we will be posting your slides also shortly after this session. So I think without any delay, we will introduce the next speaker, Almas Saeed, who has joined from Mumbai. Thank you, Almas, for joining all over from Mumbai and taking your time to take about pharmacovigilance. She is having more than 20 years of experience, and she is a passionate trainer and teacher, though she is a technical person in pharmacovigilance work for so much of time, but she is a passionate teacher, and you can identify herself as a very good teacher and trainer. So all over to you, Almas, and you can start the session. So you can share your screen, and you can
Sure.
start.
Sure. So thank you, Mujib, for that wonderful introduction. Thank you, Uma, and thank you, Mr. Raghunandan, for giving this opportunity today. And we are here to share our knowledge to the students, and I hope that all the students will take benefit of this session. So dear students, please feel free to ask your questions. You can type your questions in the text box, and please allow me to share my screen, and I will get started soon. Just give me one moment. Okay, let me know once my screen is visible.
It's visible.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mujib. Thanks for confirming. So, welcome students for this, live session which is happening today on YouTube, and I hope all of you will enjoy and keep asking questions. So, Mujib has already introduced me. My name is Almas Sayed, and I have been working in the pharmacovigilance industry. That's my core expertise, and I'm glad to be a speaker today for the session. So without any delay, let me start covering on the pharmacovigilance aspect. So just to give you a background, I think Uma has already covered about the basic of clinical research, what are the different types of research, the protocol aspect. Now, when we talk about pharmacovigilance, right? You are all pharmacy grads, and I hope and I understand that you are familiar, at least if you do not understand in detail, but you are all familiar about what pharmacovigilance is all about. But just to make it very simple for each and every one of you to understand, we associate the term pharmacovigilance with safety, right? It has to do with safety. And while we work in the domain of pharmacovigilance, it is very important for us to be careful about what's happening, right? And while I start with this session, I would just like to give you a quick background. I heard Mr. Raghu talking about some background, and I'm sure you have also read or you have heard about this, right? So the standard on ICH and GCP, and then the evolution of pharmacovigilance, it has some background, right? So today we feel confident that okay, there is a new drug, there is a new device, there's a new vaccine coming out in the market, and we feel confident that okay, this will definitely help us to get rid of the disease, control the disease, or prevent the disease. However, this was not the case earlier. This has actually evolved over decades and decades, right? In fact, we have experience, or the entire space or domain of pharmacovigilance or research has seen some kind of disasters, or I must say unethical practices, right, on human subjects, where patients, people, they have lost their life. Not necessarily it was done deliberate. So if you start reading some of the background and history to pharmacovigilance, you will find about thalidomide. I'm sure all of you have heard about this, right? Where this particular drug being prescribed for pregnant females or women, and it resulted in the fetus and or the newborn babies, they were born with phocomelia, right? Similarly, we have other instance about the sulfonamide tragedy, right? Again, which is about the solvent combination not happening right. We also have something which happened in the Tuskegee or the syphilis trial. So not going much into details, but you can definitely read all these details. It's readily available if you look up, or you want to read some article or content on the evolution or history of pharmacovigilance. So I would like to in a nutshell communicate or articulate that the importance of pharmacovigilance here that we are talking today is basically because of all the challenges that we have seen in the past, right? And it is important for every pharmaceutical companies and all other stakeholders, right? All the stakeholders, including your sponsor, your ethics committee, your CRO, your monitor, and most importantly your patient, because they are the end user, they are the individuals who are actually taking the drug, right? So it is important for them, and it is basic right for every individual or a patient that they get access to safe medication, right? So we talk about two aspects: one is the safety, and one is the effectiveness or the efficacy of the drug, right? So from WHO, we have the definition of pharmacovigilance as an activity or science which is concerning to the detection. That is, first you identify, right? Then you go into assessment, analysis, understanding. So you deep dive and understand the pattern, you understand the trends, you understand the possible relation, you understand whether it is drug induced, whether it is related to some other medication or some other conditions like medical history, etc. And at the end, what are we doing? So after we have done all these things, the basic intention or primary intention is to mitigate or to prevent, right? So you want to reduce, you want to prevent the adverse effect, that is the harm, injury, okay, or suffering of the patients, which can happen because of some drug related adverse reactions or events, right? So that's what pharmacovigilance is all about. Now, we have seen the clinical research phases, right? You are aware about your phase 0, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, okay? And then you have your phase 4 or the post marketing surveillance, right? Now, primarily, the overall PV related activities, you have to begin right from the right from the time that your drug comes into the research phase, right? So now broadly we divide this as pre-marketing or pre-approval, and then you have your post-marketing or post-approval. So basically the pre-marketing phase is when your drug is still into the research phase or it is still under the study phase, and post-marketing when your drug actually is commercialized, it is manufactured, and it is out in the market, the patients have access, or the healthcare professional or the family physicians, they are prescribing, and the drug is there in the market, right? So right from the time that you begin with the pre-marketing or the pre-approval phases, including your phase 0, 1, 2, and 3, you have to be very careful. You have to focus on monitoring, looking at whether there are any side effects, whether there are any adverse reaction, right? So with the protocol, or with the clinical trial being conducted, you have the primary objective that you are trying to treat or mitigate, or reduce a flare or of any progression or disease, right? But at the same time, while you try to treat a disease or prevent a disease, you also have to look on the risk factor or the safety of the drug. There's a very popular concept that we mostly, or we very often use when we talk about pharmacovigilance, right? The risk and the benefit ratio. So it simply means that when a drug is in the research phase or in the study phase, how do I understand whether it is safe or whether it is good enough for approval or for getting it into the market? So it may not be about 100% safe, because every chemical entity or molecule, they may have some associated adverse event, obviously, right? But what we are looking at is how much of risk do you anticipate. Now this is anticipated basis the available data, right? Because you have done some amount of R&D, you have done preclinical, you have done some lab studies, right? So you have some accumulation of data, and you start working on this data, and you go ahead and start building your further trials, like your phase 2, phase 3, so on, right? So here, this amount of information that you already have, how it is working, what do you see, what is the risk and benefit ratio, and whether the drug seems good to go ahead in the next phases, like your phase 1, phase 2, and then you have your phase 4 or your post marketing, right? Now with these two phases, the pre-marketing and post-marketing, you will have different stakeholders. Okay, like the persons who are involved in pre-marketing, you will have mostly your subject, your patient, or your investigator, sponsor, regulatory bodies. So this is when the research happens, right? And then once the drug is commercialized, it's available or it's approved and there in the market, then you have your healthcare professional, or it could be non-healthcare professional, right? So for example, if I'm using the drug, okay, I have a condition, for example, and I'm using a drug and I experience an adverse reaction. Right now I'm aware that as a patient, I have the right, or I can pick up an XYZ form, and I can fill in that, okay, this is the drug that I have taken and it was for so and so condition, and this is the kind of adverse event that I have experienced. So yeah, I can just fill up this form and I can share it. So that becomes a kind of spontaneous reporting, or it can be from a marketing authorization holder. So from both these in both these, whether it is pre-marketing or post-marketing, you will have different stakeholders who will have access to the data, the events, and they will start reporting. In the pre-marketing, on the research phase, it is mostly, it is the investigator, because they are conducting the trial, they are having the patients at the site, and they start reporting the adverse event that the patient or the subjects experience, right? On the other side, that is when we are looking at the post marketing, you have more of data which is coming from the market. It could come from a patient, that is, or a friend, basically a healthcare professional as well as non healthcare professional. So that's how your spontaneous reporting would work, and then you have all other types of reporting that we will just discuss in short. Now, the reports that I just mentioned about, right? So there is a patient who has taken the drug, he or she experienced an adverse event, right? So if we are talking about a research or a study, there is an investigator, okay, or a CRC who can help the investigator to fill in a document which is your essay reporting form that you say, right? And then you fill in the details, and this is shared to the to a CRO or to a sponsor, and then finally an analysis is done. You do data entry, interpretation, and then this is submitted to the regulatory authority, right? So this is your individual case safety report, that is your ICSR. Now, individual, this is very important here because this is concerning a single patient. Okay, I will not get into the details of aggregate reporting, but that's another or a next level of reporting that also becomes a part
Almas,
or
sorry
important
to
part of.
stop you. Almas, sorry to stop you. Your slides are not moving. Yeah, I think somehow now it is moving.
Okay, yeah, Mujib, thank you so much for saying that. Let me know if it is
No, no, now it is okay. Earlier it was not moving.
okay. Okay, okay. Okay,
Now,
so I am on ICSR case processing slide, and I hope this
yeah,
is visible to everyone. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
thank you
Now
so
it
much.
is visible. Now it is visible.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. So I was just saying that your ICSR, this is like concerning a single patient. Similarly, we have another type of reporting where, there's an accumulation of all reports, right? Or a compilation, which is your aggregate report or a periodic reports. Now, when we talk about ICSR report, it's very important that these ICSR, reports that you receive, they are valid. Basically, this could be a document or a form which will be having 3 pages or 4 pages or 5 pages, right? And it will have multiple information or fields, or information which either a investigator or the subject or a person who is reporting is expected to fill in. For any ICSR case to be qualified as a valid case, it must fulfill 4 criteria, which is very, very important, right? And which includes an identifiable patient, right? Then the identifiable reporter, one or more suspect adverse drug reaction, and a suspect identifiable product. A simple way to remember is you can remember it with the acronym PERD. Okay, so P stands for identifiable patient. Okay, then you have an suspected event. R is your identifiable reporter, and D is your suspect drug, right? PERD, right? So for any ICSR to be processed as a valid case, so that you can make the submission to the regulatory authority, it must have these 4 criteria, which will make the case as valid. Duplicate case. So, see, when we are working in a PV unit, right? I'll just give you an understanding that in a PV unit, just imagine that there is a PV unit and there are different teams. Okay, so
Almas,
I'll
I
give
think
you a
one
way.
more time the slides are stopped.
Okay,
Yeah, now, yes.
okay. So
Now it's
I think, Mujib, what's happening is while I'm on screen share and I'm moving, it is not moving.
now it
I
is
have.
now it's visible. Now it's visible.
Okay, okay, good enough. Okay. So when having an ideal PV unit or a processing center, they would have different teams, right? So the first team, they are basically responsible for booking the case or logging a case, right? You also call it as registration of cases. Now at this particular stage, this team or this individuals or employees, they would receive cases which are coming from different sources, right? We already discussed what are the different sources. Like I gave you an example, cases coming from research, which will come from the investigator, right? There are cases which can come from spontaneous, which could be coming from either healthcare professional or non-healthcare professional, MAH. Then you can also receive cases which are directly coming from the regulatory authorities, right? So depending upon the sources of case, from where it is coming and mode, how you receive it, you're receiving it as an attachment, you receive it as a fax, email, etc., right? So this team who is responsible for handling the case from that case receipt, right? So booking or registration, they will look into the case and see from where it has come. They do a basic search in the safety database and see whether there is a previously existing data, meaning if this report was reported or it was notified or it has come from any other source earlier. So depending upon that, you decide whether it is the first time case, that's your initial report, or it is a follow-up. So there are different levels of checks and entries that you have to do, definitely, to make sure that the case that you have received, it is the initial case or a duplicate case. right? So this is very important, because I'll tell you what happened. There are there are multiple cases that will come in every day in a PV case processing unit, right? It's important that we triage, that is, we prioritize the processing and submission timeline, right? And then we process the cases. So in case if there is a duplicate case, it could happen that there are two individuals or two team members working in the team, and simultaneously in parallel they are processing the same cases, right? So this could happen. And so it's very important that you identify whether a case is already received, right? And if it is a duplicate case, then you have to handle it accordingly, right? So that particular search is very important for you to ensure that you are not processing a duplicate case, right? Valid case, I think I have already covered this. PERD, I told you, an identifiable patient, an identifiable reporter, then you have your suspect adverse event and a suspect drug. So that's your criteria for making or qualifying a case as a valid case for reporting purpose. Sources or types of cases. So this is similar to what I just mentioned, that you might receive, or the PV unit responsible for case processing, they usually receive the cases from different sources. Now, depending upon what is the business agreement and how much of business the pharma companies, they have decided to outsource, what type of cases, which regions, okay, how many drugs are there in their portfolio. So the workload or the case processing units, right, how much of case or how many cases, that will vary from different CROs. If it is a small CRO setup, they may receive, say, for example, 5,000 cases per day or 10,000 cases, depending upon what is the strength or their, agreement for processing the cases. Similarly, what is their intake every day, or, week or monthly, that is decided or in the agreement before, they come into this business agreement of case processing. So every pharma company, or the sponsor, they will be having different kinds of cases and the trials which are happening globally in different countries, different region, right? Some cases will come from your research, that is coming from the investigator, or it could come from the post marketing phase, right? So solicited, these are your structured cases which are coming from your structured database, like your clinical trials, okay, or there is a known set of questionnaire or a survey that you have conducted and you have generated and you have created that forms, and hence it is in the form of a very structured data. Unsolicited, so okay, let me just explain you. I hope you understand, but in case if some of you just need help to understand, solicited is like, a very simple definition is something that you have already asked for, and you are expecting that, okay, this information will be reported by so and so investigator or from so and so site, and it comes in a very structured way, right? Unsolicited, it's like something you don't know. Okay, you may receive suddenly you could receive thousands of reports. Okay, say for example, there is a new drug which was recently marketed, and there were patients who started taking it, and just within a month or so there were multiple adverse events that the patients experienced, and then suddenly you see that there is a increase in the reporting, right? So this is something which will come from the market or from the spontaneous sources. There could be literature. Then nowadays, I'm sure all of you are aware, okay, many individuals or people, because most of us, we have become all tech savvy, how much of time each one of us we spend on either on a laptop system or mostly on our mobile phone, right? There is nothing that we don't have an access to. So right from your Twitter, your Insta, your Facebook, okay, each of these, right, you have access to so many information what's happening around the world, right? So there are many individuals who are also reporting about their conditions, their disease or adverse reaction that they experience using this social media. Also, the pharma companies, they have their toll free number, right? And they have their own PV or medical information center, which can also be utilized for calling and informing or asking for any information. So these are the different ways how which the data or information about a patient, about an event, will come to the sponsor or to the PV case processing unit or a CRO, depending upon what is your processing setup, right? So this is how different types of casing will come to you, right, for processing or for handling. Okay, so I have explained you. I'll quickly give you more information from the definitions which are there on the slide. Clinical trials, these are coming from clinical trial cases or reports, these are coming from the clinical trials, right? Mostly clinical trials are conducted global, right, and it is multi-centric. So I just heard Uma talking about different types of reports that come in, right? So which could mean that it could be coming in a different language also. I remember while I was working with TCS, we used to have a special team who were trained in translation of cases which were coming in Spanish or in French, right? So processing is your responsibility. Now, no matter what language you receive and who is reporting, whether the report is coming from a healthcare professional, okay, or it is coming from a non-healthcare professional, so you will have to process the case, right? So your clinical trial cases, these are usually coming from your investigators, and these are coming from the trials which are ongoing or studies which are ongoing. Then you have your spontaneous cases, like I mentioned, healthcare or non-healthcare professional, okay, and these would also come from any kind of spontaneous report, okay, some letters, publication, questionnaires from HCP, some kind of communication related to drug safety, right? There are some letters like alert letters, dear doctor letters, etc. Then you have your literature cases. Now literature, this is also, the regulatory authorities, they are very very uh, you know I should say it is very imperative and it is very important. So they are very much expecting that the pharma companies and the sponsor, they actively look into the literature cases and also on the social site or social media. So literature screening and identifying, what are the new events. So for every 15 days they expect that, okay, a literature search is done, okay, and then they look into what are the possible adverse event that has been identified. You pull out, okay, look into the validity and do the processing, do the analysis, evaluation, and see how it qualifies for reporting for the regulatory authority. Internet, I already told you about all these social website media, which will have too much of information, too much of data, and then you have to process, identify, and look into the reportability and process, submit it to the regulatory authorities. Okay, these are some definitions. I'll just quickly explain you what are the terms which we frequently use in the pharmacovigilance domain, right? So starting with an adverse event, I will not go into the GCP definition because just want to make it very simple. An adverse event which may or may not be related to the drug, right? And then we talk about the causality or the relation, right? So you have your adverse drug reaction where there is a reasonable possibility that, okay, there could be a connection or there is a suspect factor. So we usually define an adverse event in terms of the relation with the drug. Okay, that's when we look into the causality. Okay, another way, if like what you see here on the slide, is about the serious adverse event. So this is related to the outcome, what happened to the patient, right? So one in one way we are defining your adverse event or your ADR in connection to the how it is related to the drug or it is not related to the drug. Okay, so that is on the causality piece. And the second aspect is what happened to the patient, right? What was the outcome? So an adverse event which is causing any of these, right, which may result into the patient died, right, it was a fatal event, it was a life threatening event, or it resulted in hospitalization or increase or prolongation of hospitalization, any kind of disability was induced or damage, or it was a congenital abnormality for a female patient who had taken the drug, or any other serious event or medically significant adverse event, right? So that becomes your serious adverse event, and this is basis the outcome, what happened to the patient in terms of its intensity or classification in terms of its severity. So you have your mild, moderate, or it could be life threatening. So for example, a patient has taken a drug, and after taking the drug, the patient started feeling little giddy, or nausea or vomiting kind of a feeling, but there was no intervention required, or patient did not require any kind of hospitalization. Within half an hour or within an hour, the patient was all okay, good. So that could be like, okay, just a mild event, right? sometimes it can happen that okay, the patient has taken the drug, and now after using the drug maybe for a week or so. Okay, I'll give you an example. I'm sure you're aware about aspirin, right? Patient taking aspirin, and patient experience some kind of GI bleeding or gastrointestinal bleeding. Now this could be serious and may result into hospitalization. So it depends upon the intensity or what happened, and accordingly you have to handle that case, right? So different types of adverse event, where we talk about the causality in terms of relation, and then the outcome, what happened to the patient. So these are different terms which are used when you start triaging the cases, and you have to prioritize the cases basis its seriousness criteria, non-serious, because all these attributes are important for a PV professional to understand that when should I process the case and how soon I should be submitting this case to the regulatory authority. And hence, we need to understand all this detail or information. Any questions at this moment, students, that you want me to take it? You can also start typing your questions in the chat box, and at the end of my slides I can look into the chats and I can answer your questions. Okay, so we have seen, or we covered what is pharmacovigilance. We have seen the background, importance, definitions related to in the field or domain of pharmacovigilance. Then we have understood what are the different sources or types of cases that we receive and who are the reporters. We understood about ICSR. What is an ICSR? What are the four valid criterias? Right now, this is a very typical workflow. How the processing happens, right? At just few minutes back, I explained you about how the case is received at a PV processing center, right? And there is a team who is responsible for booking or doing the registration of the cases, right? So these group of people or associates, they have access to getting the cases, right? And they make the initial data entry, they log in the case, they generate an acknowledgement which is shared to the sponsor. Now this is important because it is important for the sponsor to understand that okay, if today I have shared 1,000 ICSR cases, did it actually go correctly, or it was correctly received by the company who's responsible for processing or handling these cases, right? A CRO or a PV processing unit, right? So that receipt of case, you handle, do minimal data entry, you generate a identification code, like an MCN number, an example, a manufacturer control number, or a GNE number, or a registration number that would identify the case. Okay, and the subsequent case, I did mention to you about an initial case and then the follow-up case. Now initial is the first case, but not necessary that for one patient when an event is reported, that's a single event or that's the only report, right? You will receive cases with follow-up. So you receive the initial report, okay, and then after 2 days or 4 days or 2 weeks or so on, you may receive a follow-up, 1 2 3 4. It could be multiple follow-ups, and hence having a tracking number is important. So receipts of case, then you do the triaging, right, where you are looking into the seriousness criteria, the causality, whether the event that is shared or reported, is it expected, unexpected from the document which is already available, usually your IB, right? And then there is a team who will do the complete data entry. Okay, so they will do end-to-end data entry, so all the information which is there on the reported ICSR form or an SA form, right? They will make this information, they will enter this into the safety database. There are different types of database, RGS, RSG. There could be some database which are customized as per the client's requirement. Okay, then there is a team who is responsible for doing a QC review. Okay, now I'll give you an example. I remember working for one of the project which was, or one of the studies which was into onco, and there were multiple adverse events or SA reports that we used to receive every time, and multiple follow-ups, right? Now the team or this group of QC reviewer, they have usually a checklist, right? Because if there is a person who has done a data entry, you should have a confirmation or a check that the data info or the information which is entered, whether it is right, it is accurate, some information, some fields are missing. Because when you enter this and you submit, it has to complete, or it has to go in the workflow. If there is anything which is missing or erroneous, then the information will not get submitted or it will not be completed. And hence a QC team exists who will review the information that has been entered, whether it is correct. Then you have a group of medical reviewers. As per the industry requirement, the pharma companies or the sponsors, they actually prefer MBPS doctors, with some amount of experience, who are required to do medical review. While we are doing data entry, or when we process this ICSR, this is about a patient, right, and the event that the patient has experienced. So for example, you receive a case that the patient took drug ABC and experience or develop fever, right? So whether it is fever, it is high body temperature, whether it is pyrexia, right? So these would actually mean the same. So when you start processing, you require a dictionary. So you have this medra dictionary which is integrated in your database, and it helps you to get a preferred term, right? So we will not get into the details. We will have I'm hoping that there will be more such sessions where we can pick up these topics and get into details of it. But medical review, they will look into the case. They will look holistically in terms of what is the event reported, what could be the possible reason, what is the medical history of the patient, what could be the other reason that could have led to possibly that event, right? Expectedness, etc., causality assessment. So that's what the medical reviewer will. So basically, the person is responsible for using his medical understanding, his medical knowledge to intervention to look into the case, and then it is closed in the workflow, and then it is shared to the sponsor, or if the CRO or the PV unit is also responsible for making submission, that's how it is closed. So this is your entire cycle of how the processing happens of a case. Okay, it is here on the slide which I have mentioned, whatever I have mentioned. Receipt of case, right? So there could be different ways. I mentioned it could be a bulk upload. Okay, in many cases, the CROs or the PV unit, they have different kinds of portals where the sponsor or the company will uh, push bulk of cases, right? It is uploaded, and the person who is processing the cases, they can download, and they can start processing or looking or accessing the case. So that's how they get an access. I will share my experience. So this is back in 2006 when I was working with TCS. At that time, we have actually processed cases where we used to get these cases from a fax machine. Okay, and it was such a slow process that we had a fax machine, and every time the fax machine will trigger it, and there is page one, one of five, and one of two, two of five and three of five coming, and then we have to see that, oh, did I receive all the pages? Okay, is it legible? Is it complete? If not, I get back to the sponsor, I write it to a dedicated email ID saying that, okay, some pages are missing, or the copy of the ICSR report that we have received is not legible. Okay, or there is some missing information. Now, like I mentioned to you earlier, the team who is responsible for that receipt, booking, or registration, it's very important for them to capture this day zero. And this is important for keeping in mind or deciding or onto your regulatory submission. The regulatory submission will happen from your clock start time, right? It will be calculated from day zero. Okay, so that's very important. Triage, I mentioned you, looking basically into the seriousness, the causality, and expectancy. So triage, three important parameters here. Case, whether it is serious, non-serious. How you decide whether it is serious or non-serious? We have already seen the definition of serious. What happened? So if it is leading to death or life threatening, hospitalization, all those things, congenital abnormality, etc., that's how you know that it is serious, right? Causality, whether it is suspect, right? So depending upon what is mentioned, what is the statement that the investigator has written, or if it is coming from a spontaneous care or non-healthcare professional, what is the drug, how it is being reported. So you have to look into that, right? And then the expectedness, whether it is considered that it is already a known event, right? That's how you look into these, and then you try and prioritize the cases. Sometimes triaging of the cases should also be considered depending upon whether you have a licensing partner, right? So because there is some agreements between the pharma companies and their licensing partner or affiliates about the timeline and safety reporting responsibility. So all those things are technical things, more into the processing. We'll not go into this detail, but for now I hope the triaging, the basic criteria which are used for triaging and prioritizing the case, how within how many days the case should be processed and it should be submitted to the regulatory authority. That's very important. Okay. We we have been processing the SUSAR cases. Okay, it's again which is a suspected unexpected serious adverse reaction where you have a 7 calendar day and you have a 15 calendar day timeline, right? So it's very important that you look into day 0, you triage the cases, because if you miss doing a correct triage, what will be the outcome? You will result into delayed submission, right? And this will impact the sponsor, and then they will have their own outcome related to the regulatory warnings, etc. So we just have to ensure that the triaging is done correctly. Okay. And a correct prioritization is done for submission. Similarly, data entry, so person doing end-to-end data entry and also doing the complete coding of the cases. Narrative writing, so you write in a chronological order the exact what happened to the patient and what kind of events happened, what was the lab test or investigation done, what was the outcome, etc., etc. QC review, like I mentioned, so there is a team of or a group of people who has scored earlier or whose performance earlier was good, right? And hence they were selected as doing a QC. They basically have a checklist. uh, Especially what happens whenever there is a new or freshers who are hired into a case processing unit. Many a times for the initial period while they are into their OJT or mentoring or training phases, right? So there is a mentor who's assigned who will check their cases, and then the final data entry or the workflow is completed. After these associates, they start independently processing their cases also. There is 100% QC review done just to ensure that there are no errors. And slowly after they start processing cases, like 6 months, 1 year, then a sampling can be done. Now this depends again how much or what was decided from the SLA or from the business agreement, whether they want 100% quality review, they want 95%, so on and so forth. But for all serious cases, QC review in many or most of the PV unit, they want 100% QC review, just is to ensure that there are no misses, right? No misses or delays or non-compliance with respect to regulatory submission. Then the medical reviewer I mentioned, they are medically qualified doctors. Mostly MBBS is the preference in the PV unit or CRO setup. So they will look into all the criteria related to the seriousness. There could be some events which may have not been reported as serious, okay, and it was erroneously done. So this is where the medical reviewer will look into it. In many cases, either the person who is doing data entry or the medical reviewer, if they see that there is some additional information required, or at least the information which is a part of the case, for example medical history, concomitant medication or drugs that the patient must be taking, if this information is missing, they write query. Okay, and they inform that on so on so pages the investigation is missing, or the medical history of the patient is missing, or simply the date of onset is missing, right? Or the seriousness criteria is missing. So imagine when these such criteria are missing, it becomes difficult for the person to do a complete evaluation or assessment of the case, and hence they have to write back to the sponsor or sender, seek clarification, and then they will process the case. Now how will they get the clarification? Remember I mentioned about a follow-up report, right? So imagine you are a person who is processing the case and you see that there are some deficiencies or gaps. This is the initial report. You write back to the sponsor saying that on page 1, 2, 3, medical history of the patient is missing, outcome of the event is missing, okay, concomitant drug is missing, so on and so forth, right? So you can expect a follow-up coming in a day or two, depending upon how urgent the case is and how you have articulated the importance of that missing information.
Almas,
So
sorry to stop you. A quick time check. We are at 12:15.
okay, okay, sure. i'll
Yeah.
i'll finish by 12:30 is okay. 15 minutes is okay for me to
Uh,
continue.
I think so. Yes.
Okay, okay, I'll do it. Thank you so much. Okay, so just to ensure that it is taken in the correct timeline. Okay, so and then the reporting happens. I mentioned about that 7 day and 15 day. So that completes your complete processing phase or your work list of case processing. So that's about the pharmacovigilance aspect, ICSR case processing. Now, talking into the technologies, we have seen some pain areas. And from whatever I have spoken, I'm sure all of you have this understanding and realization that whether it is clinical trial or it is pharmacovigilance, this is all about humongous data. There's too much of data that we are going to receive and process and handle and capture and share. So, how can we make this entire process easy, simple, comfortable for us? Right. So there, that's how we propose, or that's where the role of artificial technologies like artificial intelligence, your NLP, your machine learning, that comes into picture. Right. So this AI technology, nothing but they enable computers. Then there are other devices, so that would have, or that would apply the human intelligence, how human will process or analyze the data. There are different algorithms, and this AI technology is capable of recognizing speech, interpreting, making interpretation of complex data, decision making, and solving problems. Right. So that's how it is useful for us. Also, most importantly, they will be helping us in saving us the time while we are processing or handling significant or too much of data. What is the need of AI in pharmacovigilance? So, like I mentioned, that every pharma company is sponsored day by day. There are multiple or too many drugs coming out in the market. Too much of pressure on the stakeholders, the MAs, the pharmaceutical companies, to ensure that a continuous continuous process or mechanism of safety monitoring is implemented. Okay, while there are too much of data, it is very important to understand that what can ease this. Right, just the dependency on human being or individuals is not sufficient. So that's how your integration of artificial intelligence, machine learning in pharmacovigilance will help for us to continue this adverse event monitoring, detection, identification, or communication, and to safeguard the right safety of the patient in a much simplified way. So that's how the industry or this field domain of pharmacovigilance needs artificial intelligence. Right, most of the companies, they have already adopted, and there are lots of advances, lots of benefit that AI has already proven. There are use cases which we will talk about it. Some I will take you through some very quickly through some identified uses of AI in PV. Case intake, like I mentioned. So this, the name entity recognition, it quickly help you to identify name of the drug, symptoms, event, and then it can correlate the data of the patient. Triaging the data, like I mentioned, so it will help you to quickly prioritize the cases and do the processing. Detection of adverse events, so this can also be made automated from your NLP. Right. Entire case processing, right from your case receipt, your triage, your duplicate search, and data entry, MR, and complete processing. Another important thing that AI can be used for is data mining. Like I have mentioned, that there is humongous data. We have too much of data. So extraction of data, relevant data, okay, from different kind of sources, different sources, we have to extract the data, put it together, do the evaluation, interpret it, make some sense out of it, and then submit it with or share it with different stakeholders. So this task is really made easy with the use or application of AI. Entire process can be automated, and that's where we see that how AI is actually doing this miracle in the domain of research or pharmacovigilance. Okay, whether it is real world evidence, signal detection. Right, so this is like for proactively identifying the adverse events, so that you can look into the possible adverse events and communicate and look into the safety of the drug. So it has human intelligence, or capable or coming closer to that human intelligence. So that's how anticipation or predictive analysis is possible, right? So you may think how it is possible. So because there are systems, and you feed their data, you do some programming training, and they start thinking like a human, and they start correlating this something basis the background, or something that has already occurred. So anticipation or predictive analytics is also an important feature of AI or machine learning. Some challenges, see, when we are dealing with research and patients and safety, we are expected to comply with the legal requirement, regulatory requirement. There are some ethics aspect of it. So there could be some kind of issues or challenges related to that, but definitely this can be overcome over a period of time. And when we are doing this integration, there would be some kind of approval just to ensure that we are doing it in a ethical manner. Overall, the purpose should be to ensure that it is safe processing of data, and at the end of the day, the patients or the end user, they should receive a safe drug, right? And active monitoring or reporting of adverse events should happen to the regulatory authorities in real time. Some benefits that I have mentioned here with the use of artificial intelligence is it will significantly reduce the processing time overall, quality and accuracy of information, because they are trained, or there is a machine learning or computerized system. We can expect that the quality and accuracy will be more. It can take care of some human errors, right, and pressure that they get. Different kinds of processing from huge amount of or different sources of data, it will become easy for AI to do it in a short period of time. Okay, and that's how the overall time and efforts will be reduced. Moreover, the efficiency will be enhanced, and it will significantly reduce the cost, right? So that's how we look into the benefits of, or possible benefits of, artificial intelligence. Now, this is just my last slide. I'm sure with everything that I have discussed and spoken, and when we speak about innovation and technology and AI ML, I think most of us, especially the students, they have a question, or the professional, that if there are new machine technologies, automation happening, what happens to us? Do we lose our job? Okay, so just a quick understanding that I would like to give you here is that AI is, it is important, it is the need of the hour. It's important that we embrace it, we integrate it, right? And based on some surveys which have already been conducted, it is noticed, or it is seen, that it is actually going to help, or it will assist the PV professionals. So it's nothing about losing your job, but you will work in line with, or in harmony with these automation or AI or ML, right? And it will support further in decision making, and take care of whatever nuance the large amount of data creates, and it becomes difficult almost for human beings to handle and interpret, and put it into place in real time, right? So that's how it will be serving as a friend. I just wanted to leave all of you with this message, that we are not looking here at replacement of any individuals or PV professional, right? It's about integration. So we want to embrace it, and we want to consider that this technology, or NLP, machine learning, AI, automation, it's all about, they would assist us as a friend. They will be working, we have to work hand in hand with them, embrace them. And it's all about integration, and not about replacement of human beings, or PV professional with any technology. So that's the only message that I would like to give all of you. So no one is going to lose their job. In fact, it will create more opportunities, because some amount of human intervention along with your artificial intelligence or machines will always be needed. Okay, thank you, everyone. I'm so sorry, Mujib. I think I have completed now in time. Let me know if there are any questions. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Almas, you are audible. There are
Okay.
few questions which I will take it during at the end of session. I think somehow
Okay.
people are rejoining once again. Thank you. Let's take the questions at the end. So Uma is
Sure.
also on this call. So we'll take the questions at the end. So thank you. Let me share my screen. So hopefully I'll not take much time. I'll quickly complete in half an hour. So it was very nice session we had. So I'll be taking about the session on how the clinical research and what are the different opportunities we have in clinical research and what is Clinosol. And I'll be speaking about how Clinosol came into existence and what is the necessity of Clinosol providing this skill development programs for the students. So this is the session exploring the world of clinical research and careers for clinical research by Clinosol Research. So now this is my profile. I did my master's in pharmacy, M.Pharm and MSc clinical research. I have worked in QPS by myself, Parexel, Accenture, Oracle, and IQVIA. I started my own organization, which is Clinosol Research in 2019 to pursue my passion, which is teaching and training. So I have made this organization to grow from 10 students to 1100 students who have placed since 5 years. So we have trained more than 1200 students, including medical, dental, pharmaceutical, life sciences, and biomedical students. And I was a part of academic partners, speakers, panelists in ISCR, SEDM, and ACDM also. I have back-to-back 9 awards for the successful placements and trainings. I was a speaker for more than 100 workshops and conferences and CME programs and CDE programs and faculty development programs across India. So this is most interesting slides, and most of students wants the slides to understand that what is the different careers we have in past, present, and future. So now in past, we had hospital pharmacists or medical shops or QA jobs or QC jobs or production jobs or supply chain management jobs or regulatory affairs jobs or pharmacokinetics jobs and marketing and sales jobs or academic jobs. So these were my previous jobs where we had, wherein we had pharmaceutical formulations and R&D jobs, production jobs, QA jobs, QC jobs, and manufacturing jobs, and also regulatory affairs. And we had jobs in marketing and sales and medical shops, and also you had jobs in hospital pharmacy. Now, currently we had a lot of jobs in clinical research because patient-centric clinical trials are being conducted and more jobs are being created in clinical research, starting from planning of clinical trials, wherein you will have medical writing jobs. They design a clinical trial protocol and plan a clinical trial. So the first role comes into picture is medical writing job, where they design a clinical trial. So that's the first role. And once the design of clinical trial is being done, the next jobs comes into picture, which is your clinical operation, where the team members conduct the clinical trial, how the clinical trial is being conducted and how the subjects are being enrolled into clinical trials. So this is the second team, which is clinical operation, where you can work in CRC or CRA or project management or TMF roles. And the third role is your clinical data management, where these people collects the data, validates the data, and also make sure the data is reconciled and archive the data. So this team makes sure the clinical data management validates the data and cleans the data, and all those things are being done. Finally, the data is being sent to the clinical SAS, which is statistical analysis team, where they will do a trial, the TLF tables, listings and figures, and also the pie charts, and analytically they submit this data to the next team, which is medical writing team, where the medical writing team develops the clinical study report. So it starts with medical writing team, designing of trial. It starts with conduct of clinical trial, initiating clinical trial and taking the subjects into clinical trial. Then data collection, validation, and reconciliation and archival, and then analysis of the data by using SAS team. And finally, you have medical writing team who develops the CSR or clinical study report, who make sure the data is being submitted. And then you have one more team, which is your TMF team, which is trial master file team, who archives all the trial related documents and trial related essential documents for audit or inspection. Then you have regulatory affairs team, where they submit this data to the regulatory authorities. And finally, you have a team which is called as pharmacovigilance team, where the pharmacovigilance team makes sure that they detect and identify and they assess and understand and prevent the adverse event and drug-related risk, which Almas has recently taken. So it starts with medical writing, clinical operation, clinical data management, and then you have an option which is your medical writing and also TMF and statistical analysis software and pharmacovigilance team. So these were current roles which were there. So the current roles were on this all jobs which were there. And the futuristic jobs are on HUR, which is health economics and outcome research, imaging research, clinical data science, project management, medical monitoring, and business development, and investigative supporting team, and clinical data analytics by using Power BI and AI assisted. TMF jobs and genomic sequencing jobs are there in future, where there are more opportunities for health economics or imaging research or clinical data science and project management and medical monitoring and business development jobs are available. So these are opportunities which are available, which are being taken into picture for your futuristic jobs. So future is on this kind of a job opportunities where you are going and looking for more openings. So now why Clinosol came into picture when I started to know what is the gap between industry and academia. The academia, the colleges and the industry, what is the gap which has been there and how I can manage that gap. So first point which I have identified is clinical knowledge and technical and practical knowledge was not there. Case-based scenarios and protocol-based understanding and learning was missing in students. So that's first point. The second point, technology update, one or the other way, our students are afraid about technology by using R or Python or SAS or by using AI-assisted technologies. Students are afraid, but we identified that technology is something which students have to learn to bridge a gap between academia and industry to get more jobs for the students. So that's the technology update which we had. And the third one, regulatory guidelines update. Still, we are learning about Schedule Y, which is already been outdated, and there is no Schedule Y currently. Now, NDCT rules are there, which is new drug clinical trial rules are there. And ICH E3 is there, which is upcoming. E6R3 is there, which is upcoming version of our regulatory guidelines, which is more interesting and which is more important for us. And there is writing skills and presenting skills and speaking skills and convincing skills and leadership skills, which are missing in students. This is more important point to understand that the skills which are required is writing skills and presenting skills. And also the logical thinking, innovations, speaking skills, convincing skills, and project management. So the skills was also missing. And industry expert networking, one or the other way, industry people were not able to come and interact with students. There was a huge gap between industry and academia. There was 10-15 years of gap between industry and academia, which was more focused on this. An industry standard curriculum was missing, industry standard knowledge was missing, including the syllabus. So this was all the points which I identified the gaps, and I wanted to fill these gaps with currently how we can bridge the gap between industry and academia to give more opportunities and more job opportunities for students. So now we came up with skill development. We started putting technical trainings with more advanced syllabus and practical training, hands-on training, including databases like Clinion or PVEdge or Medra or RAChem or all these databases we wanted to put it. Verbal communications, writing skills, speaking skills, communication skills, mentorship, industry experts, conferences, hands-on experts, and networking, industry experts, and interview preparation. So all together, students were being put into skill development programs in Clinosol. And we wanted to bridge the gap between the academia and the industry to make sure the students are ready-made available for the students for getting into jobs. So this is about us. We established in 2019 and we started 2022 in Bangalore and 22 in Visakhapatnam and 22 in Canada. If any student wants to go to Canada or US, you can contact us. We will be able to help you to get jobs in abroad also. It's a private limited firm, ISO 9001-2015 MSME and trademark registered organization. And we have a trainers more than 15 to 40 years of experience who are permanent trainers in Clinosol. We are expert in providing trainings on clinical research, medical writing, pharmacovigilance, data management, clinical SaaS operations, and product management. So these are our training programs, and this is our vision and mission. So our vision is very clear that we wanted to become globally recognized professional organization by continuous trainings and upskilling for the students. Achieving our vision by spreading our wisdom, educating and empowering the students with relevant knowledge and skills required for becoming industry ready. And we believe the next generation has to come up with more logical thinking, innovative thinking, and they should be getting ready for the opportunities. So this is one more thing. And this is about our curriculum. We have a very stringent industry ready curriculum for clinical research, CDM, pharmacovigilance, medical writing, regulatory affairs, and also your SaaS and trial master file. So this is clinical research syllabus, which has been provided in Clinosol for the training of students. And this is the clinical data management course syllabus, which has been developed. And this is pharmacovigilance, wherein Almas and Uma are helping to take this training. And this is medical writing trainings syllabus, and this is SAS syllabus and medical writing syllabus. So this is about our syllabus, wherein we have developed our students to learn about how we can do it. So our training models are 3 models. We have a courses combination. So you guys can pick up the course combination of clinical research, CDM, pharmacovigilance, and medical coding. So these are 4 mandatory courses, and you can add courses of medical writing or regulatory affair or clinical SAS. For every course, you have complementary courses, including resume writing, mock interviews, Power BI, LinkedIn, and MS Excel. These all courses are free of cost, which are being given. And this minimum courses is 5, including 4 mandatory and 1 course you can add. And duration is 4 to 6 months of the course. And the model 2 is only 1 course clinical research is mandatory, and you can opt for pharmacovigilance or CDM or medical writing or regulatory or SAS. Complementary courses all will be there, and 2 to 3 months of course duration will be there. And model 3, only optional courses. You can pick only the SAS course or pharmacovigilance or CDM or medical writing courses, and it will be 1 month to 1.5 months. Only 1 course you can choose, and complementary courses will be like this. And these are specialized learning topics. Every week you have 14 hours of live sessions, and we will be giving 150 hours of video sessions, LMS free of cost. And we'll be giving soft copy and hard copy of material, interview-based questions, mock interviews, updated curriculum, latest technologies and permanent trainers, 2 mock interviews, resume writing, LinkedIn preparation. Every weekend, there will be industry expert alumni sessions, blog writing, 1 blog, 1 article, and 1 presentation has to be developed by students, and national and international presence for our Clinosol. And these are our latest topics of clinical research on PV and CDM, which we have developed. And this is assignments, assessments, project-based, scenario-based, overall skill development, and health accommodation, and industry expert and networking systems are being taken care into Clinosol. That's why Clinosol is providing a lot of placements for our students. So this is one more thing. And the training mode is classroom. We have classroom and online and hybrid also. So every method you can join Clinosol, either classrooms or online or hybrid mode also you can join. So these are our training models, flipped learning, wherein we give topics 1 day before only. Students complete the learning and they will come the next day for learning. And there will be a lot of discussions to learn more about the latest topics. That's flipped learning. And peer learning, our students itself will train the other students, which is your peer learning, flowing of ideas, encouraging to discuss more of new ideas. And next one is micro learning. Bits and pieces of learning is being developed in Clinosol. So wherein we are developing these methods. E-learning, virtual learning, any place, anytime you can learn by using LMS system. And assignment-based, assessment-based, project-based Gurukul system has been developed in Clinosol for taking training. And our admission process, we don't give admission for everyone. We allow the students to take a demo, and then we have a written exam wherein you have to write a written exam and give your introduction. Then you will be getting a selection mail and confirmation mail, and you will have a lot of discounts based on exam result and percentage and qualification which is being taken. So exceptional learning opportunities. So this is alumni meets, and this is industry expert, and these are industry conferences. So every weekend we have industry expert sessions wherein our students are learning about industry experts hands-on trainings. So now these are every year or every week we have 1 industry expert session. So these are for 2023. So these are the sessions which have been taken on 2023. And these were sessions which were being taken in 2024. So from January to till now, we have completed already 17 sessions of industry expert. All the CEOs will be coming to the sessions and they will be taking the sessions. And this is industry conferences where our students are attending international conferences. So this is for 2023. We had nearly 31 conferences our students have attended, and webinars our students have attended. And for this year, we have already completed 8 conferences which we have attended for our students for benefit of or learning of the students. So this is our collaborations. We are collaborated with colleges, universities, and learning management system, international organizations like MARTs and CROs, SMOs, and healthcare systems, product-based companies, and resource consultants, and also ACRP, SCDM, and ACDM, and ISCR. So we are already collaborated with multiple organizations. So this is our placement last month, our placement of 2024, March month. We had nearly 11 placements who are from different locations and different colleges and different qualifications they have got placed. And this year we have crossed 34 placements. So this is our placement record. We have already crossed 34 placements for year 2024. So this is one more thing which Clinosol is very excited to announce about the placements and its placement records. Last year we had nearly 140 placements wherein Clinosol was able to place nearly 140 students across all locations in India. So this is about the placement records, and this is January month placements, this is February month placement, and this is March month placement. So this is about the placement records which we had for our students. It's taking time to load it, but anyhow. So this is our placement for January, February, and March, and this is our blog writing article and topic presentation. We have published more than 600 blogs and 700 plus presentation and nearly 150 plus articles. And these are our collaborations, recent collaborations with different companies and different academic institutions. And these are our conferences, events, and sponsors, speakers, students have attended. These are our 9 awards, wherein we have got back 9 awards in 5 years for excellent training and placements. So this is our core team of trainers and the consulting team, and this is about our unveiling of the success story of job placements and milestones and publications and MOUs and events for 2023. This is already available in the YouTube channel, so you can go through this. This is already available in our YouTube channel. So this is our digital presence, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and Twitter. And this is our contact us, 912-115-1622, info@clinosol.com. You can meet me at Hyderabad location. And I'm happy to answer any kind of questions. But in the meantime, I will, if possibly, I'll take some questions also. I have got some questions in the chat box. So I'll take the questions also in chat box. So this is about our performance report for 2023. So this is our performance report. And we had admissions of 252 last year and 141 placements and 260 blogs and 98 articles and 280 presentation, industry experts 72, MOUs 19, and events 42, and workshops 24. So this is about us. And this is about our January placements, inauguration ceremonies, events, and activities which were being conducted, industry experts. So this is about our February placements last year. And this is about our March placements and events and activities and conferences, April placements, events, activities, and conferences, and May placements, events, activities, and conferences, and June placements, events, activities, and conferences, July placements, August placements, and September and October placements. So now with this, I would hold it back for a questions. I'll probably take some questions from students which already have been posted in the YouTube channel. So we have some questions. How SAS is helpful in clinical trials? SAS is helpful in clinical trials for analyzing the data, because already I have explained that all the clinical trial data has been taken into the statistical analysis software. They'll run the programming and they will run an outcome of the data, which is on tables, listings, and figures. So can we have LinkedIn ID for my LinkedIn ID is Mujibuddin Sheikh Clinosol Research, or CEO at the rate Clinosol Research, Uma Priya Clinosol Research, Almas Almas. You can find out in LinkedIn. That's about LinkedIn. And any other questions? I think only 2 questions I'm able to see. Any other questions anyone have, you can ask me. And all your certificates will be sent to the mail. We'll be sending a feedback form. So please give your feedbacks. And if any questions are there, please post in chat box. I'm available in chat box. I'm looking into the YouTube. If any questions are there, you can ask the questions. We are happy to answer the questions, and we will be driving a hands-on workshop in KVK College in a short time, which is on 25th and 26th. We have a hands-on workshop on clinical research and PV and medical writing, 2 days of hands-on workshop where case-based scenarios can be learned for the students. So any other questions anyone have, you can ask me. I hope the session was helpful, and as on time we are able to complete our session by 12:45. We'll be sending the feedback form for the students to fill up the feedback form. Those students who fill the feedback form will be sending the certificate by 2 days or in 2-3 days of time. So I'm open for questions. Uma, Almas, do you have anything before I leave the students? Because it's already lunchtime for them. So by mistake, I think we have not understood that their lunchtime is from 12:30. So somehow we missed that. Uma, Almas, do you have anything quickly?
No, Mujib, I'm good. I think if unless there are any questions, maybe they can put it in the chat and we can share it
Yeah,
with them
so
also.
in chat box, I'm waiting if any questions are there. Uma, you have
As
any?
Mujib has rightly said, you can get connected with us on LinkedIn, and if you have any questions, because of time issues, you can connect with us on LinkedIn, and if you have any other questions, you can touch base with us. Sorry.
Yeah, touch base with us, and we are open to answer your questions, and we'll be sharing feedback form and the slides and also the certificates shortly. So with this, I think thank you so much for joining, and Raghu sir, thank you for providing us opportunity for making this session wonderful session. So thank you so much, everyone who has made this session. So we are at the end of the session. I would like to thank all the participants and speakers, Almas, Uma, Raghunandan sir, for taking this time and providing us opportunity to take the session. Thank you so
And
much.
we
I
are
think I'm
going
good.
to conduct workshops offline mode, where 1 to 2 days you can have a complete workshop where you will be, walk through lots of elements of clinical research, pharmacovigilance, medical writing, whatever topic you are interested in, or your college is interested in. You can write to us at info@clinosol.com. We'll be coming up with the solutions.
So perfect. Thank you so much, Almas. Thank you, Uma. Thank you so much. Have a nice, wonderful
Thank
evening.
you so much,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Thanks, Mujib.